So, someone told me that Raw was good today. I mean, last night. And then I thought to myself, damn, child abuse be bussin' in 2021. I'm joking, but still, Raw was, it's as bad as it was predictable. I mean, Jinder Mahal came back, so was Jeff Hardy. But he returned on main event. Jeff Hardy as well just came over and jobbing over Jinder, winning clean. So probably now to an upper mid-card run for the majority of the year. Probably for Jinder Mahal. He got like freaking Great Khali Jr. and some weirdo with paint on his head. Like, I think they're called the Siraj something. There's some NXT tag team. The one looks like Great Khali before puberty happened. Because we know Carly when he was 12 was already 6'7". I'm joking, but still, like, oh god. They finally then put an intro out over the last several weeks. Like, their song is anything to get excited for. Whenever you hear about people fighting, you think of do do do. Like, nobody wants to hear that whenever somebody's fighting. Like, they do that for some AMV crap. I already hear that WWE's already doing an anime. I don't want to hear any of that garbage right now. And Jeff Hardy comes around, jobbing out. He loses clean in just under 5 minutes. He took the Colossus after a reversal. Hardy only had like a bit of momentum. Jinder won to a Colossus, so that was about it. There was no promo. I mean, no, there was a small promo. They also had a 6-women tag. By the way, they had in just 3 matches already 2 multi-person tag team matches. And most of these are intervaling with the same people. The only different matches that I've seen around the night was probably Jeff Hardy and Jinder because we haven't seen them in months. And RK Bro versus a lot. No, not that. Jesus Christ. Sheamus and Humberto finally wrestle. Yay! It just took Mansoor getting squashed. Wait, what? So, the 6-women tag was crap. And Asuka somehow pulled double duty. She wrestled Rhea Ripley later in the night. Arm drag. Charlotte comes around with her crappy big boot. Mandy with her lackluster offense. It comes over with Alexa Bliss having the frickin' swing over the set, and it looks like she's now like paying attention over the women's division, even though they did something as big as her turning against Bray Wyatt, and they don't even foreshadow that conclusion other than the crappy vignettes we've been seeing involving her and her stupid ass doll. Shayna Baszler with her terrible offense that she couldn't even do a heel kick. But at least Asuka got the victory. But this was a disappointing 6-women tag. We also had RK Bro in the New Day, AJ Styles, Omos. AJ Styles comes around looking like a Christian sex offender that also does indie wrestling with his shortened beard, with the crappy segment involving like Elias and Riker still attempting to hit the New Day with tomatoes, all because of a few weeks ago. Like, that's the whole thing. They'll still run off the same crap just to make sure that next week doesn't feel organic. So instead of assaulting these guys for, like, interrupting your concert for the last couple weeks, just throwing tomatoes would suffice. Like some little kid crap. Like, ugh. And so, all because most of them are feuding against each other, and they're all jobbers. So that means we have an 8-man tag. Yay! There was a Brenton, decent offense off Kofi. I hate that he keeps losing his athleticism and he still does most of his moves. The only positive he didn't do was that crappy double stomp he always does. A little sit down Rana. Kick up Rana from Xavier Woods. He was the only person looking exciting tonight. And after Orton, after Omos got distracted by the New Day, Orton comes around with an RKO on Elias and gets the win. After the celebration with Kofi congratulating Randy, they both got RKO'd, with Riddle looking in confusion. And it's because Randy hates black people. I mean, because Orton was in business for himself or some crap. I don't know. I really don't care. People said there's brilliance into these things. I disagree entirely. I find the whole thing with RK Bro being over, I beat Orton clean? Bro, because I'm so likable, bro, we have to tag. Like, was that the thing where, like, and I swear to God, people are probably going to compare this to the effing uh, Kane and Rob Van Dam tag team from 2002 to 2003. And I don't know how high you guys are. Like, at least they didn't wrestle each other, like, until after the tag team broke up, and it was over conflicted interests. I know they're gonna have Orton forcefully over the main event anyway, because they know they can't get anybody over him. The guy doesn't even captivate that much of new viewers whenever he's back up to the main event scene. That's about it. I don't really care about RK Bro. I find no chemistry, even a Locks, even though it's supposed to be Orton, treating him as the minor annoyance, and he's supposed to be serious, while Riddle is just chill, and their segments barely contrast over their personalities. I just find nothing cool about it or authentic. So I already lose it in that standpoint. And plus, I know they're going to break up anyway. There's like some amount of tag teams that feel like they can last other than technically the New Day because they always have to be together. Because power positivity. And then the only thing that we can get that can profit over the lower like 5-year-old market over twerking black grown men. Jesus. Even how silly it was, people remember Angel Garza shoving a rose up Drew Gulak's ass. Then whatever the hell the New Day has done over the last couple segments. Because the New Day suck. Next up, we have Sheamus versus Humberto Carrillo. It was not for the United States Championship after the numerous amount of times he's been gloating over putting the belt on the line, even though he's been in 2 non-title unsanctioned fights with Humberto for no damn reason, jumping him over backstage, beating up the NXT call-up that he didn't even get a vignette than at least the several we had for Rhea Ripley. And we still don't know what her personality is. Munster doesn't even show up, so that was like one job out, and then he comes around not even having a promo on TV. Shows you how Vince is effing up, creating over his, like trying to see who would be profitable over for the business. And even if they're not profitable, probably because they don't even have a refurbished personality, he'll just issue over on TV because of the vocal minority pushing these guys out because they're good wrestlers. Humberto, sadly enough, I'm not going to be too harsh because I know he suffered injury over a sunset flip powerbomb over the outside of the ring where it looked like Sheamus landed awkwardly on his lower hip, messing up his leg. He's out. Hopefully, I wish him a swift recovery. The match wasn't even that much, and it ended with them ending it in no contest. And even if they did, I know they were going to push over Humberto probably winning clean, just so they can have a match at WrestleMania Backlash for the United States Championship. So they didn't issue anything along the line for Sheamus. Like they didn't even, and it's 3 hours, and most of these matches are always the same matches. So why didn't they issue like Gulak or Angel Garza and give them a small push for the U.S. title, just so they can be the top contenders? I mean, they did bring him back to segment, so it looks like they're going to keep this as a weekly thing. Where instead of your ass, it's going to be up your throat. And so they're trying to consist these two lower mid carders to finally have a feud over Gulak mocking the like his Ring of Honor promo of this is a profession. This is an art. This is wrestling. Come around insulting me and shoving that up my ass. Like if that was the case when a wrestler shoved something up my ass, I'm beating him up. I'm not gonna come around judging him like some kind of weirdo principal. Like what's wrong with you? He embarrassed you on live TV. Like beat him up. Next up, we have the only, I guess, conflicted storyline that they have here that took very little to foreshadow since the earlier stints of the Hurt Business, where they actually showed some confident young blood in the Hurt Business and always having conflict with Shelton Benjamin. At least this have some semblance of a story, but I kind of lose interest because they should have done this to foreshadow a breakup to begin with, because at least it's infighting. And it would make some sense since they were the most successful and had the most championships at the time. So why break them up? You know what? Not my energy. No, I was about the most positive thing people have been talking about over earlier stint of 2021 and late 2020 was the Hurt Business. And WWE just had to F them up. Even though even Smarks like the Hurt Business, because at least it made a conflicting major faction that the show can revolve around, and they F it up in so much major proportions that Lashley doesn't even enter last whenever he wrestles. It's bad. Match was alright though. Couple enziguris, pop-up slams, a super kick. I mean, what you suspect because these guys nearly wrestle the same way, except Cedric is a bit more athletic. It ends with the surprise T-bone suplex for the 3 count, even though Shelton been using the pay dirt for most of this time. So that's a bit interesting. And they keep doing these Sonya Deville segments, where it's like, oh, favoritism over Charlotte Flair. First of all, why don't they emphasize the relationship that Charlotte has with Sonya Deville? Like, if Charlotte's like at least swaying Sonya Deville relationship wise, because we all know that Sonya Deville is a lesbian. That'll be a bit more interesting. But no, we can't give Charlotte Flair a character. We can't show her actually trying to wooze in her way into getting out of suspension, then back over to the title picture over beating 2 female jobbers like Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose in 2 weeks, and then she gets a title shot. And people say, oh, but Backlash isn't Backlash anymore because now you have 2 triple threat matches. So that just takes away the title. That's like Matt Hardy. It's like Matt Hardy tagging with Edge back in Unforgiven 2005. The pay-per-view kind of gives a meaning why the match exists. Or the storyline. Come on. Guys, come on. Match was alright. Decent surprising win for Shelton. They also had Adam Pearce swaying over the repeated backstage segments, looking like a great substitute teacher that probably got cheated on his wife, like with several black men in his house without him noticing, because the lights were off. I mean, let's just say Adam Pearce sucks. He's mad bland. Out of most of the authority figures, I'd rather take the guy who said Jeff Harvey than this guy. Because at least he shows that he has a semblance of enthusiasm, even how boring he is. Mike Adamle has more charisma than Adam Pearce has been over the last couple weeks, months. So it's been hyped over. Oh, it's a triple threat match. It's a triple threat match. So that means they have to wrestle each other. Why? By the way, Retribution, those Mace and T-Bar, after taking off their mask and jobbing out over DQ and count out over the last couple of weeks, and thanks Vince can't book them over strong, they're probably going to be repackaged to the regular jobber gimmicks. Why take Dio Madden out of commentary anyway? Commentary effing sucks. That Aiden Burt guy can't make me give a shit about a GTS wrestling match, let alone something that's supposed to be a wrestling show that everybody knows on the goddamn planet. Asuka and Rhea Ripley had a WrestleMania rematch. There's two WrestleMania rematches later in the show, and they've been barely built up to just build to both people just having a triple threat match. So nothing was on the line. Their titles weren't even on the line for the rematch, so we already know they're going to be wrestling each other, and thanks they want to be protected strong. You have Rhea Ripley winning clean, but you have you have McIntyre and Lashley ending over on DQ. That perfectly works to hype up the pay-per-view. I already know that the main event was going to end in DQ anyway. The Asuka and Rhea Ripley matches just suck. I already don't know the personality of Rhea Ripley. She comes around trying to be somewhat roguish heel Bush Dyke that has Lacey Evans shoulders with no charisma or a bit of sex appeal with a Gordon Ramsay haircut. She can't even have a decent match with Asuka without looking like she was gonna F stuff up. And you can see that over her post WrestleMania match with Asuka back on Raw. Then she has a rematch. So it just feels like this chick coming over and having automatic rematches with Asuka means nothing. The Queen gathers on commentary, and every chick just comes around just eyeing her gaze, even though they can just wrestle. They know what her music is, and it's not like it's a pivotal part of the match. So she comes over on commentary, and I don't think I heard her saying much. Running a little butt strike to the ring apron, a shining wizard, a running elbow, the riptide for the victory. Rhea Ripley wins technically clean with a bit of outside interference off Charlotte. So why wouldn't Charlotte come to screw over the chick that literally screwed her over at a number one contenders match from just weeks ago? And it ends up with just a brawl. Just, how am I supposed to get behind Rhea Ripley if you already turn him automatically heel with no hype factor? She can barely talk. She's bland. And just have overemphasize Asuka as like the middleman in a story that's barely that built up to just be a triple threat match because they know Sharia can't draw. This is just so pointless. I'd rather put the title back to Charlotte. Asuka can't do much to always retain the title because she literally can't talk that much of English. And Rhea's just fucking boring. Let's get it straight, folks. Then we had the main event. That wasn't that bad of a match. It was pretty alright. But, oh god. Whoever win... There was also a match involving Damian Priest and John Morrison. Whoever wins picks a stipulation of the match involving Miz and Damian Priest, I guess. That was about it. They already wrestled before. So why are they trying to hype over a match that has barely that much story other than Bad Bunny used to feud with them? Heel kick, at least they zoomed out finally for that spinning heel kick from the top. That's pretty cool. Falcon Arrow that somehow that 8-man vert guy confused for a vertical suplex because he doesn't know how moves work. There was There was, of course, a bit of interference off the Miz hitting a big boot. There was a ref bump. And the rip-off Crossroads for the victory. So, I think we're going to get a regular match because he's a babyface. So, immediately after the pin, Miz comes and hits a skull-crushing finale. That failed. And that was about it. I'm not that hyped over for this match. Gotta admit, it's gonna be a good match. Sorry, I have to do that one-sided cliche. Match was pretty average because they already wrestled, like, I think 2 weeks prior with crappy segments involving the New Day. And there's barely that much of hype factor involving over Damian Priest. The guy looks like a star. Don't get me wrong. Comes around looking like Jeff Hardy over on backstage segments. And the guy is always bland overly when they talk. And I guess that's just how they portray baby faces over on the main roster. And it's pretty effing bland. And I swear, I think just the overplaying this of your character will get way better when you turn heel is already overrated. Because look at Damian Priest. I mean, Rhea Ripley. They can't make a towering, over 6 foot woman have any charisma. Or any intimidating look to, be a big attraction. And our main event was Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Belly-to-belly suplex. Another exploder into a jackknife. Pin. Big boot. Like, they started immediately. Like, this match actually had any reason to exist. Like, it's been under a month since Mania. We already had most of our WrestleMania rematches, so it just felt like absolutely nothing. On Raw, like, a larger show where you should have more variety of matches to build up for your pay-per-view if you even want to do a rematch if you like to. It should feel a bit more special to do the rematch on pay-per-view. So whenever you hear that, oh bro, I just finished Mania. Okay. Just know and just like nearly a month, Lashley's already going to wrestle Lashley again. Rhea's already about to have 2 matches against Asuka in under a month. Most of the women's tag division really didn't do crap, and Damian Priest is still feuding with Miz and Morrison, and none of it feels overarching. Strowman comes over with his music and assaults McIntyre, causing over the DQ, even though the match really didn't mean much. And I know they were about to do this just to protect the predictability of the match, but the momentum means nothing. Just to bring more involvement that Strowman would be like joining the Hurt Business or some crap like that with the backstage segments over with MVP that was doing alright promos. But it just felt like sweet nothings over the promos because it really wasn't averting to anything. And it ends with Strowman beating up Lashley after it looked like he was about to join and giving him a power slam. And Strowman celebrates in the ring. That's the show. Raw gets a 3 out of 10. Absolutely average show. Below average show. Too many of the same matches. Jeff Hardy jobbing out. Like, you couldn't leave Jinder beating up, like, Drew Gulak or Angel Garza? The guys that have, like, no potential to get up in the card? Do, like, more on-the-fly stuff that's going to actually affect the pay-per-view. You forgot that we're building over a pay-per-view, and people are just okay with just an average card after WrestleMania. And they even hype it over, but calling it Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash. It's just so crap. Like, what's so hard about making a big pay-per-view? I don't get it. Like, people, you guys gotta stop always, like, being acceptable with the bare minimum, especially into something that you're gonna pay to watch, especially if you're a fan. Like this is just depressing. So Raw sucked. That's the intro. That's the middle, and that's literally the conclusion of the video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you subscribe to enjoy the rest of the content that I have on a regular basis. And that's it for me.